You're probably going to be hearing about these fragrances from me a lot because I think they're amazing, and I'm probably not going to stop talking about them anytime soon. Some are newer than others here, and so, some you've probably been hearing me talk about for years consistently. Others, again, are newer releases and ones that I pretty much instantly fell in love with. The bulk majority of this list is trending towards cooler weather scents because that's kind of where we're at right now. If I were making this video in summertime, it would look a lot different. It's not to say that there aren't a ton of summer fragrances out there that I will continue to talk about year over year, because there are, but this video is kind of based around what I'm currently wearing and enjoying a lot at this moment in time. I did sneak in a few fresher ones though, just for some variety for some of you out there who are wanting that right now. But again, this really leans more towards the cooler times of the year, and so it's a lot more appropriate for a lot of you guys right now. This first one that we're going to start off with is a little bit interesting, but it'll make sense. Of course, Acqua di Gio Parfum. I've been talking about this since 2017. How is that possible? This came out in 2023. At this point, you guys know the deal. This replaces Profumo, so they're very similar in terms of smell, performance, quality, all of that stuff. The only difference really is the bottle and the name. That's basically it. Now, they have cheapened up these bottles a little bit over the years, as you guys have probably noticed by now. They ditched the magnetic cap, and they ditched the little plastic plate that were found on the bottom of some of these, like in Profumo. That's no longer. And so this is almost exactly the same as Profumo. There are a few minor differences, and actually, I guess you could even say an improvement with this new Parfum, and that is the opening is slightly more smooth. It still does have some of that grassy green smell, which can come across a little bit, strong and overpowering at times in Profumo. It's better here, but it still does exist a little bit. I do think that they polished this one a little bit, and kind of makes sense because they had plenty of time, many years, to be able to figure that out. Why exactly they did this, I don't know. They're probably just going through a rebranding process. They're kind of switching over the bottles and the code line as well. So I think they're just trying to freshen things up, simplify things a little bit, and maybe just labeling it as a Parfum makes it a bit easier to understand. So regardless of that, yes, Profumo, Acqua di Gio Profumo, I've been talking about literally since the very beginning of my channel. And so now, because the Parfum is the one that you can currently go out and buy, this one's going to be taking over. I will never, ever hang up the hat on this one. I love this stuff. I've been wearing this one a lot here in wintertime. I know I should be wearing other things because, it is cold outside, and I'm going to regret not spending more time with my winter scents once summer hits. But man, there's something about this I just can't get enough of. This next one here, the next few are more winter themed. First off, we have Tonka Cola by Mancera, my small little 60 ml. Bought this one because it was the only thing that was available. I was trying to hurry up and get it. Since then, 120s have popped up all over the place. And generally, the going rate for this one on discounters is just a bit over $100. I've seen it around 102. I've seen it upwards of 120-ish, somewhere within that range. It's new, so it's still going to be fluctuating depending on where it's at and just how much of it they have. It retails for $180, so no matter what, as long as you're under that, you're saving money. And typically, I think a lot of the Manceras could fetch their retail price. I still think it would be pretty fair, but there's no reason to do that when you can get them for usually $100. A lot of the Manceras you can get for sub $100. Cedrat Boisé, Red Tobacco, Oud Lemon Mint, and so on. You can usually get those for 70, 80, 90. But Tonka Cola is kind of the new kid on the block, or at least one of them anyway, and pretty much immediately fell in love with this one, and I kind of knew I was going to like it based off the name, the note breakdown, and even the presentation. The color of the scent itself looks fantastic, and it smells great. Has a lot of cinnamon, Coca-Cola, Tonka, some vanilla in here. It kind of is somewhat similar to the type of DNA that Roja Creation E falls into, but this one I find is a bit more wearable and mass-pleasing overall, and there still are some major differences between them. You know how people compare Cedrat Boisé to Aventus? That's kind of similar to the comparison of Tonka Cola to Roja Creation E. They're not clones by any means, but they're in a similar category, scent style. Also, price point on this one is going to be way lower than the Roja, of course. I just love this stuff. I think it's great. It's perfect for this time of year. It's really one that has a warming, kind of comforting smell about it. Moving along, we have Gentleman Eau de Parfum Reserve Privé by Givenchy. So this one has iris, whiskey, and of course, some chestnut. And that's kind of one of the new notes, not new necessarily, but one of the newer notes that are kind of starting to rise in popularity here. Kind of made popular with Stronger With You and even Replica by the Fireplace using it. It's a note that just kind of gives off more of a sweet gourmand, kind of hazelnutty type of smell and texture. And of course, sweet fragrances are all the rage right now. Pretty much every brand, for the most part, are putting out sweet scents pretty consistently. And also, so is iris. And of course, this is an iris scent through and through. Same with the Eau de Parfum and pretty much the rest of the line, minus maybe a couple that don't use it a lot, but most of these are using that note to some extent. And if I had to choose my favorite gentleman fragrance within the entire line, it would be Reserve Privé, hands down, no questions. I don't have to think about it. They just made the DNA even better here. The whiskey, the iris, the chestnut coming together create something that is sexy, warm, inviting, and great performing as well. I love this stuff. Next up, we have Armani Stronger With You, absolutely. And another one that's following a similar trend where they've taken an existing scent DNA and added kind of an alcohol accord. In this case, rum instead of whiskey. And also, kind of similar here, also utilizing the chestnut. And I promise that was not done on purpose here, completely a coincidence. I forgot that this one was up next. They're close together in the video. But I was just talking about Stronger With You, using the chestnut. And here it is. There's no denying that that note smells great. It is very distinct, and it does provide a lot of character to a scent. Might be something that gives it more of a young and more casual smell, and not everybody's going to be a fan of that, but for the most part, it's something that just really does smell pleasant to most people out there. And Stronger With You absolutely is no exception. It's playing on that DNA, just making it a bit more interesting, and still has amazing performance coming from this parfum. Next up, we have Kilian Straight to Heaven, just the original one here. They do have a few kind of special editions. They have Oud and Musk Special Blend, and also Straight to Heaven Extreme. And believe me when I tell you guys, I went way out of my way to add those to my collection. It took a lot of searching, a lot of tracking things down, and ended up costing me a fair amount of money because you guys know those weren't going for retail or below. They were going for above retail, and I wanted them so bad and ended up getting them. I actually got Oud and Musk Special Blend first, I believe. And actually at the time, the Extreme was a bit harder to find than that. I don't remember what I paid for them. I just know they were expensive. And for most of you guys out there, 99%, it's probably not worth going out and hunting that stuff down. I'm so passionate about this scent DNA, though, that I just had to have them. And in terms of niche in general, 50 ml going for just a bit under $200 on most discounters. It's not horrendous, but it is on the upper end of things. I mean, you take a look at what the 50 ml Roja parfums are going for, even on discounters, are going to be north of $300 a lot of the times. And so this one's kind of, it's on the upper end, just not as crazy as it can be. Still expensive though, don't get me wrong. For me, it's no problem. I have no problems with paying for this stuff. If I were to burn through this bottle, I would buy it again. Although I wouldn't buy this, I would buy a refill. That's one of the things that Kilian does, is they sell refills, so I wouldn't have to spend the money on a new presentation. The top unscrews, and then you can refill your existing bottle. You can actually save a bit of money that way. It is one of the most realistic boozy scents that I think has ever been created. It is truly phenomenal. It's smoky, strong, mysterious. Something just absolutely special about this one. Love it, and just will continue to wear and rave about this stuff for years to come. Kind of going back down to earth here in terms of price point, I think we're at about, $48 to $50 for this one. 125 ml Mustache Eau de Parfum by Rocus. And essentially what this one does is it smells a lot like YSL Tuxedo, but with a little twist, focusing a lot more on the vanilla and pink pepper rather than a ton of patchouli, kind of like Tuxedo itself does. Again, still very similar. And you know exactly what they were doing here. It's blatantly obvious, but there are a few minor differences. As far as clones go, there are better clones out there in terms of accuracy, the closeness, okay? You know, I mean, there's so many. There's Afnan Tarathi Brown, there's Alhambra the Tux, there's Fragrance World Suits, and so many more even beyond that I'm missing right now, but I know there's more. And so what I like about Mustache EDP in particular, again, is that it is a bit different. And so it does give you a bit of variety and makes it worth picking up in its own right, even if you have some of the other clones or even the original. It's just a little change of pace. This DNA is amazing. It's super unique. Again, there's a lot of clones and things that smell similar to this style at this point. But as a whole, you know, this smell is something that is just different. You don't see it every day. Next up, we have Issey Miyake Blue Astral. Not every day do you see a unique summer scent or a unique kind of warmer weather scent. And so every time I find one, I get excited about it. This one has lime, amberwood, coriander. Kind of like I was saying there with the YSL Tuxedo DNA as a whole, you don't see that or smell that very often. You don't really smell anything like this hardly ever either. It's not your typical summer scent, and that's what I like about it. It's not aquatic. It's not overwhelmingly citrusy. It's not, you know, blue in terms of like a blue ambroxan fragrance. It doesn't follow the same tropes that your usual summer suspects have. But it is still fresh. It's woody, has lime, so I guess that's a citrus, but not your usual delivery. There's just, I don't know. Again, this is kind of one of those things where you need to smell it, try it for yourself, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I say that this one really kind of stands on its own. Definitely one worth checking out if you can grab a bottle. That's one that's a bit hard to find sometimes, so if you want to be the first to know about anything rare, discontinued, hard to find, coming into stock, or great deals coming up, you can sign up to my mailing list and texting list at the link and number down below, and you'll be the first to know. Dior Homme Parfum actually just came in stock for $129. The going rate for that has been 180 to 200-ish, so 130 bucks it came in. Sold out quickly, of course, because that's the lowest it has been in a long time. I can't recount the last time it was that low. So of course I sent out a notification. All of you who are on there probably saw that, and some of you probably got your bottle, because again, it did sell out within, I don't know, probably less than a half hour. Also, you can be the first to be notified about any new raffles going live. If you guys want to play around with that, you can text WIN to the number down below, and you'll get a separate little notification when the next one of those goes live. And there is going to be another one coming soon. I'm in the process of figuring out what I want to put into it right now. I'm almost done. It's going to be bigger than the last one, bigger than any of the other ones we've done. I'm excited for it, so make sure you stay tuned. Let's keep this video going with Light Blue Italian Love. Love it. No pun intended, literally. It's amazing stuff. It's bright, citrusy, fresh, and kind of following that trend here with Blue Astral, something that you just don't smell every day. A ton of grapefruit in here, ozonic notes, violet leaf, and then along with that grapefruit, some bergamot to kind of give it some support and some balance, because the grapefruit is the star of the show and it can be a bit overpowering. The bergamot helps you out. Another one that can be a bit tough to get sometimes. Forever was discontinued. This was reduced. It was released as a limited edition. I guess it has been reduced now, the production, I suppose. And so, long story short, it's going to be in and out. Make sure you jump on the lists down below and you'll be notified when this one pops up again. It has been popping up, just few and far between, but there is no hope lost yet. Running down to the end, we have Tom Ford Ombre Leather Parfum. It's got leather and amber and some jasmine. That's basically it, but mostly leather. It's a wearable leather, where Tuscan leather by Tom Ford might be a bit less versatile and perhaps even challenging, and kind of more of the earthy variety of leather. This one is quite the opposite. It's a cleaner, crisper, fresher leather with almost like a suede texture and undertone to it as well. If I didn't say fresher, which I think I did, fresher, not something that I would go out and wear in a 90-degree summer day, but you're going to get a lot more of an extended usage out of something like ombre leather. It's going to be a bit more expensive than a lot of the others in here in general, but it is worth it. Last up, Parfums de Marly Layton. Save this for last. I'm not going to say the best for last because they're all great, but Layton is kind of like the new Aventus. Probably not to that extreme, but you know, some would argue that, yeah, the clones of this one, there's a ton of them now. People are talking about it all the time. It's kind of like how Aventus wound up. And so, not an insult either, because that means they're doing something right with this. I love it. I've been wearing it a ton. Also, I've worn my clones from time to time when I'm feeling cheap and don't feel like I'm going to waste this by, you know, going to bed soon after or taking a shower, or if I'm just, you know, hanging out by myself. And why wear this when I could save some money and just wear a cologne that I'm still going to sit there and smell and enjoy? I love it. I'm going to talk about this all the time, and if I'm not talking about the real one, I'll be talking about the clones as well, because usually they're $30 to $40 and a lot more obtainable. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. Some amazing fragrances that I love and will never shut up about. The rare ones will be popping up on my mailing list, texting list down below. You can also text WIN to the number down below and you'll get a separate notification for when that next raffle goes live. I've got a lot of big stuff planned for that one, and so if you want to play again, try your luck again. That should be coming up soon. I'm trying to finalize things, but I'm trying to make these better and better each time, and it's challenging. It's really hard to think, you know, what would be good to put in there and what people would want to win, so bear with me, but it's going to be coming. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.